it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're going to focus a little bit more on the personality manipulative traits and tactics of the female psychopath. I've received a number of inquiries and questions to discuss a little bit more about this personality disorder and how to manage it. Now, the female psychopath oftentimes will engage in manipulation, control, and domination, oftentimes through what we call boundary violation. In boundary violation, if you understand, our boundaries are defined by what you will tolerate, what you will accept. They are governed by your values, your belief in yourself, your understanding of right or wrong, your emotional boundaries, which is like your natural limits for what you'll endure physically, what you'll endure emotionally, what you'll endure psychologically, financially. You know, you have a certain blueprint, you have a certain foundation, you have a certain boundary. And so oftentimes part of the manipulation and control tactic from a female psychopath is the violation of these boundaries. And this is broken down and violated oftentimes during the initial idealization phase or the love bombing phase, when they dominate and control, oftentimes with an agenda that begins with a hypersexuality. So oftentimes there's two subcategories of the female psychopath. One that is sort of cold, distant, calculating, very unemotional, and they just don't seem to flinch or get angry at anything. It's as if they're almost they have a lack of responsiveness to regular emotional events. So, you know, if their kid is injured, they just, you know, they don't really flinch. They don't really seem to be affected. This is more of a cold subcategory, if you will. Then there's the very kind of hot-tempered, aggressive, very emotional, manipulative and controlling female psychopath who is kind of a high stress, high wired, if you will, emotional, very hot. I would say they present very stressful. It seems like a lot of energy in the beginning, and this can take really in the form of jealous outbursts, hostility outbursts, rage outbursts, very hot-tempered. And they can control oftentimes with being very manipulative and very sexualizing of others. So it's a very one-directional sexualization. And this also takes the form of their body language, the emotional content of their words, their word choices, where they're extremely high opinionated and they're not very good listeners. So it's not a nice two-way interaction with a female psychopath. Oftentimes people then give in to their hypersexualization, especially a lot of men find this quite charming, that they don't always have to be the driver, that this female psychopath can dominate them and overwhelm them sexually. And the violation of boundaries can take place, you know, physically, emotionally, and through the societal norms. So it's very much what we call an antisocial personality disorder, where it's a violation of one's boundaries or societal norms. So you might see this in the hypersexualization, where they're trying to manipulate you socially and sexually in inappropriate places, inappropriate distraction techniques where you're trying to focus on your work, and then they're sending you text messages, pictures, emails while you're trying to focus on your work. So it's very distracting, and this tends to then create a violation of your morals, your societal norms, and your sense of right or wrong. And if you're kind of a conservative guy, strong reputation guy, and then this is sort of new and exciting and thrilling, this becomes then very pleasurable to the gentleman. She's able to suss this out and begin this right away when they can identify and know, oh, this would be extremely pleasing for this guy. This would be, he usually doesn't have this type of woman in his life, and I'm so different, and I can go there, be very racy, very sexual. So a lot of men are, welcoming of this, but they don't realize that this is not a relationship. This is not love. This is not attachment. This is manipulation. So manipulation meaning they're going to break down your boundaries. They're going to make you very suggestive. They're going to satisfy your emotional needs in the ways that you've, quote unquote, never been satisfied before, where they seem to be the answer to your everything. Extremely good looking, I've never had this type of woman before, and I'm just going to lay it all down for her. This is it. This is the ultimate. This is the woman of my dreams. So you feel this kind of like illusion or soulmate experience or, fantasy. And this is the setting of the groundwork for the violation of your boundaries. Your boundaries become repeatedly violated, and then she's then kind of controlling you psychologically. You're psychologically captive to her. And again, for a lot of men, this is very welcoming because they have to be the authoritarian, they have to be the provider, they always have to be so responsible and accountable. So it's like a welcome relief or a welcome respite from usually being so in control. Yet this can leave them very open to suggestion, violation, and being taken advantage of. So a lot of women in this case, then they'll overwhelm them, and they'll get the keys to their house, the keys to their bank account, the keys to their family, and they will then basically drain them of energy, drain them of their finances, drain them of their reputation when things start to go south, when things start to get not so interesting for the female psychopath. Remember that she can't love and she can't bond, and she will take no responsibility or accountability for her behavior. So when things start to get real, when you start to try to make this solidified, when you try to hold her accountable, this is where you're going to get the devaluation and the discard and the humiliation and the smear campaigns. So she is going to start deflecting this, and she's going to go and seek other partners, other interests, other events, and you're going to feel like, I didn't deserve this, and then you're perhaps going to try to resolve or savage the relationship and then work even harder for it. And then we're going to see the discard taking place, where eventually either you're going to just leave her because she's asking too much, or things are now appearing like something is off, or she's made a couple remarks, or there's been some episodes where you're seeing some of the rage and you're seeing some of the crazy side, if you will, of a female psychopath, where just illogical, perhaps they're texting you, sending you pictures, presenting with a lot of emotional dysregulation, very hostile, and you're saying, okay, we're going to be done, or she's saying we're done, and then you leave her. And then, oftentimes we see this reaction out of their fear of abandonment. So oftentimes these women, either, if you're their kind of secondary or tertiary, they'll let you go and hopefully take focus off of you, and you can leave peacefully and know that you just have let go of this crazy person, and you no longer want to suffer the abuse. Oftentimes, though, this female psychopath reacts very extreme to their feeling of abandonment. So even though there's no bond, even though there's no attention, they just feel this hyper reward system kicking in, and they just want to get something back. They just want to get you back, and they'll then resort to a lot of the smear campaign, threatening calls, threatening behavior, perhaps property damage, showing up at your house, sending other people to be like a flying monkey and intimidate you into reconnecting with her, calling her back, giving her back, attention, and you don't want to give in at this stage. This is a tough situation because it can become very scary. You're like, this person is out of control, and they're sending me threatening emails, or they're threatening to contact my work. So this, again, is the hypersensitive reward system of that female psychopath, who, once they have broken you down, they feel like they're entitled to you. So very scary, and you need to identify who you're dealing with, which is someone who has very self-seeking, reward-seeking behavior. So whatever it is that they want, if they want you back, if they want attention, they're going to be driven to do this. And then by virtue of their, prefrontal cortex, where they don't have a break they can't put the slow down. They can't keep their own boundaries intact. They're going to just keep going for it, which is very scary. And so if you see this sort of lashing out behavior, like, this is almost psychotic. This woman is not based in reality. This woman is just acting out. This oftentimes is what we see presented from a female psychopath, because of the antisocial nature, very self-centered. So in order to become free of this, you need to protect yourself. Number one, go no contact. erect your boundaries. Disconnect from blocking, by blocking her. No contact through emails, block the emails, block the social media, your phone, whatever it is you need to do, change your locks. You need to just get your world back, get your sense of normalcy back. Disengage. Don't engage with other people that she knows. If you have similar friends, don't connect with them either, because this is an inroad for her to further know where you're at and manipulate you. Change your Facebook, your Instagram, your Snapchat, your email. Change up some things. You might want to change your LinkedIn profile. Other ways that she can pursue you. Change your email address if it gets very severe. I know people who have had to change their social. They've had to change their address. They've had to move because the discard is so severe. And this should eventually, with time, it should reset, and you'll begin to hopefully feel a little bit less stressed, and you won't have those flashback, those intrusive thoughts. But that might occur as a result of being in a very toxic relationship with these individuals. I hope this gives some insight and some light to who you're dealing with, and be very careful. Erect those personal boundaries and protect yourself. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.